Hi, my name is Catherine Raunke, and today I'm going to be sharing with you about pre-K development, specifically looking at 4-year-olds in the ages and stage goals that the CDC has put out. I also want to share with you why play is so important for this age group, although truly it's important for all of us, about the different stages or types of play, and some practicals that you can use with the children you have in your life. So let's go ahead and start with the CDC's goals and benchmarks that they have for 4-year-olds. With the social and emotional area, they would like to see 4-year-olds enjoy doing new things, be more creative in their make-believe play than they were when they were younger. The kids would rather play with other kids than by themselves. And at this stage, children should actually have a problem telling what's real and what is make-believe. With language and communication, these children should be able to understand the basic rules of grammar. By that, I'm talking about when to use he versus when to use she in a sentence. They can sing songs or recite simple poems from memory, and they like to tell stories. With the cognitive benchmarks, we'd like to see children able to name some colors and some numbers, understand the idea of same and different, use scissors, remember some parts of a story, and be able to tell you what they think will happen next in a story. With movement and development, we would like to see children be able to hop, stand on one foot for up to 2 seconds, catch a bounced ball most of the time, and pour, cut with adult supervision, or mash their own food. So, why play is so important? Play is so important, first of all, because it builds the executive functioning in the brain. And it says the more time children spend in unstructured activities, the better their self-directed executive function will be. This executive function is what helps us analyze, plan, and reflect on our actions so that we can achieve a goal. The skills involve our intellect, our emotional and social abilities. Executive functioning increases mental flexibility and self-control, and it's also linked with increased math, vocabulary, and literacy skills. The second reason that play is so important is because it reduces stress. This is a child's primary stress relief that they have. It is actually so important that the American Pediatric Society is telling physicians they should be prescribing play, especially when children are facing adversity. Play is also a social activity that fuels language and thought. It also fuels learning how to cooperate, when to lead, and when to follow. And then last reason that play is so very important is that physical play is important for our health and developing motor skills. So now I'm going to talk about the 3 types of play that we have, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the classroom that I'm in that just shows you how we've set it up for these types of play. Bear with me as I have to move a little bit, so that might be difficult. But the first type of play is pretend play. And in this type of play, we're taking an object and making it something different, or having ourselves transform into a different object. This develops symbolic and abstract thought, which is important precursors for reading. Also, during pretend play, it has been shown that children speak in longer sentences and use a more complex language when they're engaging in pretend play. So I'm going to spin this around and let you see that this is our kitchen and helps the kids. Obviously, there are things to begin to play with there. And then they begin engaging in different role play, who they are, and what's happening. With physical play, this helps develop motor skills. And another thing that physical play does for kids is it increases early math skills and concepts like numerical concepts and spatial concepts. Physical play helps kids engage with risk in a healthy way. Now, obviously you have to be careful for things that are just too dangerous, but the goal of physical play is not to eliminate all risk. It's actually to allow them to engage risk that's appropriate for where they're at. And then the fourth reason that physical play is so important is that cross-body movement ends up helping when you're going to learn reading and writing. Anything like crawling or ski type motions where you're moving cross-laterally, your arm and opposite leg at the same time, that's going to help kids build skills so that they can differentiate between B's and D's. So that will help build reading skills later. And then exploratory play. This is when you're manipulating objects to create something new or solve a problem. It's actually a child's first instincts, and it's the reason why babies will stick everything in their mouths. Hopefully by 4 we've taught them not to stick everything in their mouths, but they should still be super interested in feeling and looking at all the different attributes of something. Children who discover a toy on their own will come up with more attributes for it than if an adult instructs them on how to use something. So I also wanted to show you back behind me this green table. That's our science table. We like to stick things like sand or shells, different things, and we've seen kids play with shells for hours, just exploring and sorting and drawing and all kinds of things with the shells. Here's this whole section for blocks and building materials, and again a little visual example of one of their creations. So now some practicals when you are engaging with the kids in your life. The first thing that you might not know is that children need at least 30 minutes of uninterrupted time to fully benefit from their play. This is so that they can plan, set up, and engage in higher levels of social and cognitive play. So hopefully if you have them at home, you can provide that for them, or if they're in a preschool, that will be provided. But also this is important as kids get a little older. So when we talk about kindergarten age, if their recess is maybe a couple different 15-minute sections of recess, you want to be sure to provide at least 30 minutes at home where they can play and fully engage in it. The second practical is to get outside. In a national survey of 8,950 preschool students, only 51% of the kids went outside to take a walk or play with a parent once a day. So go outside, you can discover dirt and plants, the way the water works, clouds, all kinds of things. And that is a great thing if you are playing or engaging with kids, having kids at your house when you're not used to having them and maybe don't have as many toys for them. The third practical is that traditional toys are associated with a higher quality and quantity of language compared with electronic toys. So we all love some of the different electronic toys and what they can do and how they can occupy children, but please make sure that your children are getting some unplugged time each day. The fourth practical is to create an atmosphere that encourages fantasy play. This one is one of my favorites, and it's perfect if you don't have toys at your house for kids. You can provide boxes, costumes. By that I'm talking about random hats or gloves or scarves that you can engage this fantasy play with. You can have an old sheet to create a fort. Just be willing to use your imagination, create characters and scenarios, and away you go with playing. Also in that you can build different types of constructions. If you aren't going to be the actors in it, You can build something. If you don't have Legos or blocks at your house, I pull out Tupperware or plastic cups because I no longer have toys for 4-year-olds at my house when they come over, and those are things that they can build with. And lastly, when children are playing, you can also be asking open-ended questions, especially with this exploratory play when they're really looking at things and learning about them themselves. You might make a comment like, I wonder what would happen if, and you fill that in and then allow them to maybe choose to wonder with you and see what would happen if they engaged in what you just wondered. Another thing you can do to help add value and build what they're learning when they're playing is making a comment like, I see that you built that tower symmetrically. Do you know what symmetrically means? It means you built it the same on both sides. That will just give a little bit more information from what they're already learning and engaging in their play. So, in conclusion, play is brain building. It helps us hit every developmental milestone for the CDC. It reduces stress, and it's fundamentally important for learning 21st century skills such as problem solving, collaboration, and creativity. By now, I'm sure you're ready to go play, so grab your kids and enjoy it.